Hello, Keith here with Math and Games. Today we are playing PanzerBlitz. We're on situation number 11 out of the 12 initial situations. It is the German attack on unorganized Russian position, the German relief of the 1st Panzer Army near Bucach. Much of the 1st Panzer Army was cut off during the Russian Spring Offensive. The two panzer divisions of the 2nd SS Panzer Corps which did the job came from France. So the Russians have set up the Germans are trying to break a defensive line that the Russians have very quickly set up. The quick setup means that the Russians don't have any block counters, they don't have any mine counters, and they don't have any fortifications. Look at the big picture. The Russians are going to be coming. If you see the little map on the side, the Germans are going to be coming from the bottom of the map, and their goal is to exit from the top of the map. Meanwhile, in the center board is board 1. Just a reminder, board 1 is the trees and the ridge board. The board that the Germans are entering in is the one with the big mesa, the big flat, elevated flat area. And the board that Germans exit on is the flat plains area. So what I did, now this is important. What the victory conditions for the Russians are prevent the Germans from winning. So there's no variation in levels of victory. Either the Germans win or the Russians win. So what the Germans have to do is create a corridor 3 hexagons wide from the west edge of board 2 to the east edge of the number 3 board. So the way I set up was, first of all, over here on the left, go down, there's a swampy area. This swamp area covers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hex sides. And it's really easy to block. What you do is you put 2 half tracks on the road in the swamp. The Germans will not be able to get through that. Because if the Germans destroy those units, those 2 wrecks will block the road because it's a swamp road. So that cuts down the amount of area you need to defend considerably. The key to the Russian defense are the guards units. The guards units defended 18. The German units attack with 3 attack factors. You would need almost all the German infantry just to get one-on-one odds against the guard units. So those are the key. Also on the guard unit's position, I threw in an anti-tank gun for most of those positions. And you have, I think, 9 guard units. So you can cover quite a bit of ground with those guard units. Over here, I have 16 factors. I combined a submachine gun unit with a recon unit. And I added I used trucks basically to slow the Germans down to prevent them from overrunning positions. Over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this mortar position into the woods. The mortar unit is with the truck right here. It's going to drive on to board 3, I believe, and park in the woods. And then, because the Russians move last, just drive on to the board. So I have, and over here I have another mortar unit. Now this is all area that's fronted by the swamp anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. So as we go from left to right, you see the guard here, you have a guard unit, armored combination. I also threw a tank unit. The Russians in this scenario have a very effective tank units. 15 attack factors, range of 8. They defended 10. They can move 11. It's a very, very effective defensive force that the Russians have. And going down here to the left, I have more. There's the anti-tank unit guard combination, anti-tank unit guard combination. Here, this is a powerful mortar, a 24 attack factor mortar guard combination. And going across to the right here you see another combination, anti-armor Russian guard combination over here. Now you have to be careful between these positions right here. Yep, and over here on top of the hill you have a guard position, another Russian guards position. And I have trucks over here parked behind my units. So at the very end, I can move things around to complete that 2-hexagon line, defensive line. Over here, 2 hexes, 3 hexes away from the other outpost is a Russian guard unit. And over here, a Russian guard unit with an actual tank. Now on the far left, there could be a hole, but what I did is I have a mortar unit over here. And what this mortar unit is going to do, it's going to move back into these woods on board 3 and just drive right up to complete the chain. So it's a very, very, the Russians have a lot of resources over here. I've also thrown over here on the left, I threw some mortar units and some trucks in the city just to slow down the Germans. And over here, I put a truck just to prevent the Germans from just driving right up, and just to slow the Germans down, I put a truck at that key intersection. On the ridge here, you notice I have a truck. I have a half track and I have another truck, just again, and I have a tank unit just to slow the Germans down, because this scenario only has 8 turns. So now the Germans don't have to exit the units off board 3, they just have to clear that corridor. So that's a key thing. I don't believe, I think I said that they have to exit units. Germans do not have to exit units, just have to create that corridor. The Germans, meanwhile, they're going to enter on this road. And they have a lot of firepower. They have those Panzer Vs with 16 attack factors, a range of 12, and a defense of 12. And coming on, I have how many stacks of those? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 full stacks of those units. Then I have some more of the Panzer IVs, and I have 1, 2, 3 of those stacks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 9 stacks of 3 tanks each. That's 27 really heavy tank units. And then coming up, you see the howitzers, the propelled howitzers with firepower 40 and 60. And then you have the infantry coming up last. So I'm going to start the game. The tanks are rolling. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's where that truck comes in. They basically slow the Germans down. Oops. Okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have to remember road capacity, so I have to actually move them back here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This unit's going to come right behind them. So I've got 4 on the board, so it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how many units do I have on here? Let's see. I have 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't think anyone has a shot at me over there. Well, might want to move that over a bit right there. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, those last 2 units had 8, so I have to slow them down a bit. 8. And they can each be a half a step ahead. I'm just gonna put them behind a little bit. I want them to be sitting ducks. Let's see, how far is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. I just want to make sure I have them out of range of the Russian artillery on that hill. It's up there. There. Units. There. Now for the half tracks. What am I going to do with the half tracks? 1, 2, 3. Let's move the half tracks up. So how many units have I already traversed the road? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5, 9.5. Stop them there. Move these guys here. Move these guys here. Last but not least, some interesting stuff over here. What do we got over here? Okay. So I just got to rearrange these so the mortar units actually in the 2 half tracks. That's all. There. That unit can only go 6. Holy moly. Just gonna put them on the edge of the board right there. And last but not least, these trucks. Just put the trucks over there. Alright, so that's it for the German turn. Now, unfortunately, I should have had, in order to take out that truck, I should have had some infantry. That's very unfortunate. So now I'll just have to go around that truck. It's not a big deal, but I think what the Russians are going to do is put more trucks over there to block the roads. Yes. All right, so that's it for the German turn. Let's look at the mini map over there to the left. Then you see over here, you see on the hill a whole bunch of armor. half tracks, and you see the van of the German force, those heavy units, those 16, 12, 16 attack, 12 range units. Now the Russian units. So you don't have to have, first thing, do we have any fire? No, because we don't have any spotted units. That one tank unit on a hill has a range of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's no one over there. Sure. Let's go to the left. Got a couple mortar units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12. Well, I can use a mortar unit against one of those tanks. It'd be at 1 to 3. No, I can't because the tank is in cover, so it's blocked by the woods. So not much I can do if you're the Russians here. So the Russians don't. I don't see the Russians having any direct fire. The Germans. So now the Russian movement phase. So it looks like the Russians, the Germans are coming right up the middle. The thing is, all those units bunched at the top of the hill. What's that hill called again? At the top of hill 132 with that town, that big mesa. All those units can branch off to the right and try to come up the right side of the map board. So there's still a question as to where the main thrust is going to be for the Germans. I'll pull back a little bit, get a little bit bigger picture. So if you look, this unit, this big lump of German units, that could either go straight up the mill or it can veer off on this road and go to the right. Meanwhile, this group, the heavy armor, is pretty much committed to going straight up the middle. So I could have them go straight up the middle and veer off to the right, and then have the main Germans put the main body to the right. So it's actually a good situation for the Germans. Meanwhile, this guy right here is going to go to the woods. He's going to go 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, oops, 9, 10, and he's going to just park there till the end of the game, because he's there to fill this last gap right there. Okay. I want to throw this tank unit forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1. I know where I want to go. 1/2, 1.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5. I'm pulling back a little bit. I want to see if the Germans have any easy chance to shoot that guy. I don't think they do. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. What's underneath that? Oh, that's another guards unit, right? He wasn't loaded. Or was he loaded? No, I just had the tank on top. Okay. Just because the tank is in support of the infantry. Is that a good place to put them? That's the question. No, I'm going to put them... I'm actually just going to put them in the woods right there. Anybody else I want to move around? Not yet. Not yet. So as the Russians, I'm going to wait till the Germans. I'm really not going to make any huge commitment. Well, these trucks on the hill, I can move that down 4. 5, 6, 6.5, 6, just to possibly slow the Germans down a little bit. I'm going to move this half track down, and I'm going to move this truck down right there, and there's a half track over here. I'll move, see, I don't want to put anything in open terrain where it can be overrun. That's the thing. So I might leave that right there. So the Germans are probably going to destroy that unit right there. So I want to block. I'm just going to put right over there. I'm going to put a unit. So even if the Germans blow up that truck, there's a truck right behind it. How about this armor right here? Well, armor can't be overrun. I'm just going to leave that right there. This armor, I'm going to move up to the top of the hill. I already got some armor here. I think that's it for now. All right, so that's going to be it for the Russian turn. Okay, so that's it for turn 1. We have 7 turns to go. So an interesting situation is developing. Again, there's some fog of war for the Russians right here. Do the Germans take this main force right there, that's on top of hill 132, and combine them with these forward tanks, these Panzer Vs, into one big punch right down this road? Or do the Panzer Vs push toward the center and all those other units push off toward the edge of the map board on the right, which may be a good thing to do. So we'll see. All right, I thank everybody, and I will see